Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. Today we'll be discussing another feud that Ethel aka EssenceOfThought's has instigated with a commentary YouTuber because they allege that she had plagiarized a video series they made on Lily Orchard, a predatory fanfic writer that has a channel where she analyzes kids shows. That can't be good. In that series, Ethel discusses disturbing allegations of child abuse she perpetrated through her platform, including an incident where she coaxed a friend of hers to prey on a child. Two victims had come forward through testimonies of Lily's actions they provided to EssenceOfThought. It was commendable of Ethel to give these victims a voice because few survivors have had the courage to speak out. It partly restored my faith in the channel until this plagiarism dispute kicked off. The commentary YouTuber facing this accusation is VangelinaSkov, whose real name is Eva Alexandria. She also covered the situation by going over Lily's background and her questionable activity on Tumblr. Before she released that video, she had been in a bit of hot water over her shoddy responses to HBomberGuy's video, Plagiarism and YouTube. She felt personally attacked when he briefly mentioned her in a section about Illuminati soon after he summarizes her feud with Legal Eagle, where he described drama channels as low-effort content. It is a take that I can agree with because, let's be real, some content creators are in it for the fame and would only cash in on it if the drama is fresh. That's not to say all of them are that shady, but YouTubers like Illuminati, as HBomberGuy explained, don't bother putting in the effort to ensure that their sources are properly cited and that their thoughts are entirely original. VangelinaSkov's criticism of her cameo in HBomberGuy's video didn't have the effect she had intended. She herself received backlash for not realizing that he wasn't calling her out directly. She hasn't paid attention to the argument he was establishing by giving credit where it's due, and there were gross assumptions in the comments that she was trying to make that tiny section about herself, even though she was genuinely distraught, so she set that video to private. In a separate video she later uploaded titled Addressing the Accusations, where she reflects on this backlash before shifting to EssenceOfThought accusing her of plagiarism, she stated that she realized that her reaction was immature and that she said she has praised HBomberGuy's video as well researched. It's just that she disagreed with his description on drama channels and that much of the backlash she was receiving was because that comment was perceived as a slight against him. VangelinaSkov stood by her entitlement to state that she took issue with that tiny section, so when the response video was received unfavorably right off the bat, she was and still is confused. Assuming that it wasn't too serious, she left angry replies to people that were upset with her about it on Twitter, leading them to conclude that she was trying to censor them. Later on, when she posted that video, she has apologized for tweeting these replies. She owned up to these mistakes by stating that sometimes she doesn't think through what she tweets. I get it, but if she stopped for a second and rewatched that section of HBomberGuy's video before she made that private response video in the heat of the moment, it would have saved her a massive headache. Not that it would change her opinion because she's still entitled to it, but it would help her understand that this section was not personal. I replayed it 3 times and I didn't see it as in punching down these channels. It seemed like the problem was the channels HBomberGuy showed on screen were playing telephone to the point where they forgot what the original source was, making them seem almost dishonest. He was providing feedback about fixing this messy anomaly in that section while making a deadpan joke at his own expense. That's actually genius. The reason I'm making this video is because I noticed my old video from 2 years back had attracted renewed attention in wake of the situation, and I felt some of the details I covered weren't expanded on enough. And now that EssenceOfThought has been under fire, now more than it was previously, I felt that I should put out a part 2/remake of this video, so everyone who's new to this channel understands why I'm not okay with their crusade against Rachel Oates, and have now short-sightedly involved VangelinaSkov. I put out this video when Rachel first announced that she has filed a defamation complaint to YouTube, and since then, some of Ethel's videos about her have been blocked in the UK. It has been 5 years now that they first started spewing accusations of transphobia toward her. Rachel disproved most of these claims in her deleted videos about how this ordeal affected both her career and well-being. I was concerned when I noticed they were listed as private since the last time I talked about it, but it then occurred to me that the defamation case Rachel has pursued might be ongoing, and it's possible that the videos might be used as evidence if this lands in court, though her side of the story is still available for public viewing on Google Docs. Ethel recently took it a step further by claiming that Rachel doxed a member of a mental health group for trans individuals in their last 2 videos. Rachel herself debunked that claim in a reply to someone that pointed it out to her in the comments of one of her community posts. She stated that she was sent a screenshot of a few people talking about her behind her back, and she blocked out any personally identifiable information before sharing it. Over the course of several months, as you'll see in a minute, Ethel's crusade on getting Rachel deplatformed has escalated. It is at a phase where their obsession with her has come out into the light for those who haven't noticed thus far. I wanted to clarify why this kind of behavior is actually damaging to the trans community, how it alienates me, and more importantly, talk a little bit about what not to do when you suspect plagiarism. I have grown in the last 2 years myself, and although my experiences both inside and outside of YouTube have challenged me as a writer and shaped me as a person, my views on the situation have not shifted. There were occasions where I was led to believe Ethel had a valid reason to be critical of Rachel, and that my positive interactions with her on Instagram has affected my judgment, because I watched a commentary video that came out not long before mine did on how to improve as a trans ally by recognizing and overcoming unconscious bigotry. I still recommend it for the fair-minded arguments this YouTuber presented on this drama, but I know now that no matter what steps Rachel Oates takes to reflect and grow, Ethel will never stop going after her until she loses her platform. That level of obsession and toxic behavior is immature at best. It's practically criminal at worst, since it meets the legal criteria for harassment and stalking. Simon Fraser University has a thoroughly written article on its library's website on how to detect fake news, and I found that reading through the steps the library breaks down and using the thumbnails in Essence of Thought's videos over the last 5 months as an example is an effective tool for recognizing that they are sensationalized. That brings me to take a look at a Twitter thread the YouTuber that made the video I enjoyed posted, stating that they were planning to make a follow-up to it and to hold them over, encourage their followers to look over the sources Ethel has cited in their videos about Rachel over the last 5 years. It can't be a good sign, considering that they're willing to distort the evidence from these sources to make their claims look legitimate. This will be crucial to remember later on. So this YouTuber tweeted the following on September. The next YouTube content you'll see from me will be addressing my thoughts on everything that has happened and what is still happening regarding Essence of Thought, Rachel Oates, and others, including the events surrounding the ACA walkouts. We'll get into that on my channel some other time because I have a bone to pick with the Republican Party for their plan to get rid of Medicaid. The thread continues. In the meantime, if you were/are willing to listen to the brief video I posted about this a year ago, I strongly encourage you to please go back and listen to Ethel's past and recent videos covering all the specifics in depth already. I ask that you put aside whatever preconceived notions you have based on what you think you know, and actually take time to hear the substance of what they said and has been saying for years now. If that still isn't enough, check the description boxes on YouTube. Look at the list references for yourself. Open the Google transcripts they have under each video where they have laid out and numbered sources to back up each and every claim they make. And to those that may have been directly involved in this situation as a friend, bystander, fellow content creator, etc., remember that it is not too late to reflect on what you chose to say or not say then, and what you could choose to speak up about now. This isn't a matter of being forgivable or forgiving, it's a matter of impact and what you want yours to be moving forward. Then they leave a link to their video. It has been over 6 months since this thread was tweeted, and though this video is not out yet, I caution this YouTuber to reconsider their stance. Many queer and trans viewers, including me and those commenting in the YouTube drama subreddit about Essence of Thought in this post, have caught wind of Ethel's continuous deception and fixation on Rachel Oates, yet they still trusted them as a reliable source until their emails to VangelinaSkov were featured in their video. Rightfully, Reddit and this corner of the internet that have talked about this are furious. Regarding what these viewers want their impact to be moving forward, they just don't want to be complicit with that behavior anymore. The fact they feel alienated because of this is one reason why Essence of Thought has been hemorrhaging subscribers within the first 2 weeks. Their video calling out VangelinaSkov was posted. It's always okay to leave a toxic community if you feel it's not good for your well-being. It's alright to call out disturbing behavior from a public figure you look up to when you see it. You don't need a total stranger to define who you are as an ally of the LGBT+ community, nor to police how you should advocate for them, and it's absolutely okay to cut that person out of your life if they do. End of. Even though EssenceOfThought's subscriber count has plummeted to 43k, they are still getting attention from the publicity their feud with VangelinaSkov has generated, so let's dive into how insane it has gotten. The chapter in this ongoing saga began when Ethel posted this update in EssenceOfThought's community page. Plagiarism update. I just wanted to make this post to keep you all updated. A channel has been caught plagiarizing my series on Lily Orchard, not merely scraping all screenshots from the video, I can tell by a specific visual marker, but also mentioning testimonies only found in our videos and even parroting my analysis of their personal and even immediate thoughts. Around a third of their entire video is just a blend of my series with quite a bit of effort going into hiding the source of screenshots. Thankfully, they missed a trick or two. This is, of course, incredibly distressing, and I've taken to contacting the owner of the channel about a clean resolution. I don't know if it's the presenter of the channel, it might have been something done by a writer/researcher, but I'm trying to open contact with the owner to figure things out. That said, I felt the need to keep you all in the loop. If 2019 taught me anything, it's keep ahead of the narrative. I think it also goes without saying on this channel, but I'll say it anyway. Please do not seek out / antagonize anyone you believe responsible. This will not help the situation. Trust in that. If the person responsible refuses to fix the damage, I'm more than capable of setting off the alarm. It didn't take long for them to do that. Here's what they posted next. Plagiarism escalated to legal intimidation update. Hey everyone, just needed to make another post to update you all. The person that caught plagiarizing my videos, or the media management firm she works for, have finally responded, effectively telling me to contact their lawyer, which tells me that this is an empty bluff. They seem to be hoping that the mere mention of a lawyer will get me to self-censor, which, if you know anything about this channel, is fucking laughable. I am almost done with the video. I began writing the moment I saw the person in question setting up to deny my accusations, meaning I literally only have the last chapter to write, explaining how the response, at least in my mind, confirms my suspicions. I tried to reach out and arrive at a civil agreement. They spurned me. That, to me, is a pretty clear indicator that what happened wasn't a genuine mistake or accident. Video will also probably explain why I haven't been posting much. Anyway, see you all soon, Ethel. I didn't think too much about the initial post because it was, at the time, a private dispute and I was under the impression that the accused content creator made an honest mistake and Ethel was going to be reasonable by giving them a chance to correct it. But after rereading that post and looking over the second post, I noticed the ominous wording in the last paragraph. Specifically the line, "I'm more than capable of setting off the alarm," sent a chill down my spine because it shows me exactly the kind of person that they presented themselves to be. Something told me that Ethel had another video or some sort of scathing post ready to go in case they didn't get their desired response. Mentioning that 2019 taught them to keep ahead of the narrative is another detail I found disconcerting since that was the year they first went after Rachel Oates. It was, in my opinion, never about keeping ahead of the narrative. It's always been about controlling it by shutting out open discourse in their own community and unjustly kicking out devoted fans during disagreements. A user that got banned from EssenceOfThought's Discord server, Rahudan1334, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, posted an open letter on his WordPress blog where he stated that he personally witnessed Ethel and a fellow admin get into a screaming match with a guest they had on a live stream, and he used this experience as evidence to fire back at the former after he was accused of mocking someone's mental health. The instant he got a message stating he was banned from the Discord server was when Rahudan1334 understood that Ethel went against their own values. Consequently, he can no longer take them seriously, and I wholeheartedly support his decision to step away from EssenceOfThought altogether. One other person that left this comment on Lazy Bedhead's video on the situation was banned from the server commented that guilt-tripping over honest mistakes and that every discussion had to have a trigger warning were regular occurrences in that space. I imagine based on their observation that their time there was toxic and putting up with not just Ethel, but other users with that mindset had taken a considerable toll on them. I have the emails opened up for us to look over and determine if Ethel was sincere about their intent to resolve the dispute. I know they said in the last community post I showed you that they wanted to work something out with VangelinaSkov, but based on how they responded in that post when an attorney was brought up, it sounded like they haven't approached her about their plagiarism accusation professionally and essentially yearn for her to be punished more than what is seemly. I'll let you be the judge of that in the comments. Okay, so here's what Ethel emailed VangelinaSkov. Hi, I'm reaching out to you because I've learned that your channel has plagiarized several of my videos. Your channel's video, Lily Orchard, YouTube's Biggest Creep, contains several screenshots which are identical to the ones from my videos. The presenter copies several of my phrases almost word for word, and the presenter references the source of our victim testimony, who has not shared their story anywhere else. Plagiarism is not only morally wrong, but also a violation of copyright law, so I expect this to be corrected. Essence of Thought has always intended for our resources to be freely used by others, so usually we would only require you to link our channel in the video description, credit us for the screenshots, and have the presenter cite us whenever one of our ideas or pieces of evidence is used in the video. Since you, your writers, or your researchers did not do so, we feel we are entitled to 30% of the video's monetary value as compensation, based on the fact that 13 minutes of a 30-minute video are clearly plagiarized. That includes AdSense Patreon earnings for the month of February and sponsorship earnings from HelloFresh. These actions are to be taken along with issuing a correction/apology to all social media, as well as including an explanation of the issue at the top of the video description, run by us first, explaining the error. Thank you for your time. Ethel Thornton, founder of Essence of Thought. I can see why a lawyer was mentioned in the conversation. Ethel then followed up with this email. Hi, I'm aware that you have updated your video description since my email to include everyone you plagiarized excluding me, in spite of the fact that I can prove you ripped 13 minutes of your video from my series, including through the clever application of data triangulation. I am, suffice to say, disappointed with your course of action and would like to give you one final chance to make amends before I go public with everything. Oh, good grief, then why the hell didn't you list examples that your videos were plagiarized in your email?
I knew that I hadn't plagiarized anybody's video. And anybody who I consulted about this, without me using the words extortion or blackmail, said the exact same thing. So, what was I supposed to think at this point? I just chose the route of, they're going to make a video about me, they're already going after my income, they've contacted sponsors to try and get me into trouble and make me lose a source of income, they're trying to extort me for money in my view, and they're gonna make a video about me no matter what I do. They're not going to listen to me, they're not going to listen to any kind of, or come to any kind of understanding that this may have been a misunderstanding. They'd made their mind up.
VangelinaSkov made the right call by hesitating to reply back and suspect extortion. In her video, she admitted that at first she had no idea who Ethel was, but once she spotted the name of the channel they run, it caused her to panic. She stated that she was uncomfortable paying Ethel for their silence over an infringement she alleged to have never committed. This is supported by her admission that she never watched a single video on Essence of Thought's channel. I don't either because I don't want to give them any engagement, but sometimes plagiarism can be committed by accident if the information is recycled from another source and it was not attributed. VangelinaSkov, however, stated that she gathered information for her Lily Orchard video from posts on sites like Reddit and Tumblr, as well as Encyclopedia Dramatica to get an idea of that controversy. This is where the accusation slightly falls apart because these posts are accessible by the public and screenshots of posts on social media are not for one writer or YouTuber to claim as their original content. With that being said, their channel's initial post about VangelinaSkov was yet another lie in that the way they approached her about their claim was anything but diplomatic. Ethel followed through with that threat by uploading their misleading video as VangelinaSkov predicted they would, and took it a step further by putting pressure on HelloFresh to stop sponsoring her, all before she was given a chance to figure out how she should respond. That's a load of mafia gangster maneuvering. Here's what I don't get. Ethel said in their community post that they would work out a compromise, but during that negotiation, if we can call it that, they went behind VangelinaSkov's back by working on that video and tagging HelloFresh in a thread for the public to see. To be fair, I'd argue that this thread might have been a type of general inquiry, but they already had their mindset on smearing VangelinaSkov. They had no intention to compromise, so what was the point of emailing her other than forcing her to choose between her income or her safety? In my opinion, an email like that would be sent by someone dealing with inordinate levels of stress caused by their financial trouble, which may stem from a multitude of medical emergencies, India's changes to regulations in their significant other's line of work, and a decline in patrons, according to this comment in the YouTube drama subreddit. She recognized that she should have checked the sources of where she gathered the screenshots from, and that she'll give credit to these sources, including Essence of Thought, because she wanted to do the right thing, and I respect her for making that choice. From an academic perspective, failing to carefully check and cite these sources is considered plagiarism, but she assures her audience that she did not find these screenshots through Essence of Thought's video series. If Ethel wanted to stick to that route and insist that the screenshots on social media about Lily Orchard are theirs, they would also point fingers at Definitely Bored Oranges and Nukes and Nor, a couple other content creators that talked about Lily Orchard. To single out VangelinaSkov, since other YouTubers, writers, and bloggers have covered Lily, strengthens my suspicion that their motive for going after her is because of her relationship with Rachel Oates. That could explain why they weren't looking to compromise if this is true. Exactly my point. Ethel made a follow-up video that contained a thumbnail using both Rachel's and VangelinaSkov's likeness and placing the Libs of TikTok logo right in the center, when the handle has absolutely no relevance to the plagiarism accusations. The fact that Essence of Thought is now trying to associate these creators with the alt-right to portray them as nefarious has me convinced that VangelinaSkov has every right to be scared of them, just going as far as calling Rachel Oates their abuser in the same post when there's far more evidence documented that she had dealt with worse in 2019 and a wellness check was done on her is maniacal. Ethel, is this about your content getting plagiarized or not?
And honestly, Rachel has never attacked Essence of Thought. Never. Every time she talks about Ethel, is defending herself from Ethel's bullshit and slandering and personal attacks to Rachel. Ethel does this behind a block. The only access that Rachel has to this is through screenshots. She cannot respond.
Putting aside how ridiculous Ethel's demands were, cybersecurity specialists that work in law enforcement highly recommend not to accept demands from extortionists, keep a record of any form of communication, and notify the police right away. Since Ethel and VangelinaSkov live in two different countries, there's only so much the local authorities can do, but it's still wise to document proof for that record, contact them so they can assist you with next steps to take, and reach out to as many people as possible to build a solid support network to prevent the extortionists from isolating you. When a content creator, artist, or writer has found that their work was stolen or was used without correctly attributing them, sometimes what they would do is contact the offending author or company by mailing them something like, "Hey, this was my work that you used without my permission, and I have proof enclosed. Will you do me a favor and take it down or give me credit? Thank you." If they refuse, or the original creator is uncomfortable with dealing with it themselves, and generally this is how most copyright holders like major publishing companies handle misuses of their IP, they can work with an attorney to file a DMCA complaint or send a cease and desist letter. Nintendo is most notorious for sending cease and desist letters to many creators of fan projects. It hasn't made them popular amongst their fan base, but sending out these letters is a proper way to deal with alleged copyright violations, and that method works every time because legal proceedings can be costly. Through YouTube, this is done by submitting a video removal request or copyright claim. If you suspect that your IP is stolen or that someone else is presenting your ideas as their own, you don't, for any reason, send an email to the offending author demanding 30% of their income and threaten to put out a video with the intent to humiliate them. Even if, let's say, the allegations were found to be correct and that VangelinaSkov is still not trustworthy, Ethel's approach was not an ethical way to resolve the dispute, specifically not after they've issued this threat on camera.
In 100 small ways, you have snatched the bread from my starving mouth, pilfering our work to create a monstrosity, something that is antithetical to everything we are building towards at Essence of Thought. Yet, even worse than that, when I reached out to you about the harm your actions were doing to try and reach an accord, you spurned me. You pretended to ignore my cries whilst editing the description of your video, acting like you were an honourable person. When I did not give up, you threatened me. We are beyond making amends at this point. I gave you that chance twice. I will make sure your reputation burns upon fires fueled by your own history. I hope you enjoyed your series on Illuminati's downfall, because that is where you are headed. I hope it was worth it.
It's interesting that I listened to this threat around the time I started watching clips from Bartok the Magnificent, and I get the feeling that this is something Ludmilla would say to him after locking him in a tower that's about to be flooded. Ethel ranted that they were beyond making amends and were determined to make sure VangelinaSkov's reputation burns to the ground. Yet contrary to claiming that they gave her 2 chances, there was no opportunity for her to try because they were plotting to and have actively carried out this latest leg of their crusade regardless of what action she decided to take. The instant Ethel sent these emails to VangelinaSkov, it sealed the deal that she was in a lose-lose position. I recommend checking out Lazy Bedhead's video and Twitter page where she has done a great job going through Ethel's plagiarism claims using copyright law to explain why they hold absolutely no legal merit, like for instance, they did not specify in their email what specific parts of their series were stolen, why screenshots from social media don't hold creative value, and that VangelinaSkov is innocent. I will leave links to her coverage of the situation down below, and I'll put her video in the cards. A critique that I did have was that she didn't go through how Rachel Oates fell victim to Ethel's targeted harassment over the last 5 years, and purposely didn't bother to look up who Rationality Rules was. It doesn't really change that Essence of Thought has allegedly thrown the people they're claiming to protect under a bus, but it is worth mentioning that they went after Rachel because she had no intention to end her friendship with Rationality Rules. Ethel never intended Rachel to end it all when she was under the extreme stress they put her through in 2019, but I agree with Lazy Bedhead that since the response to seeing her in such a vulnerable state in a deleted video was that their gender identity means they are defending themselves by default, then they don't have a solid argument. A few days after Lazy Bedhead uploaded that video, one of Lily Orchard's victims, Britt, left a bombshell comment claiming that Ethel hasn't been honest about how they acquired the sources in their video series, more so than VangelinaSkov herself, since that's what they accused her of doing. Lazy Bedhead understandably had it pinned so it wouldn't get lost, and to ensure that her audience is aware that Britt has condemned Ethel's behavior. Her pinned comment states the following: "Those of us who have actually been victimized by Lily Orchard are utterly pissed at Ethel and have tried to get them to understand the harm they've been doing to not only us, but Lily's current audience. Myself and one of the other blogs provided those screenshots and context to Ethel during the making of their Lily Orchard series in the hopes that people would be warned about Lily's predatory behavior. They didn't go painstakingly looking for them, they had people providing them to them on a silver platter. Ethel is just another content creator who used an entire community of abuse survivors for money. They disappeared for over a year in the middle of what was supposed to be quote-unquote an investigation, only to reappear out of the blue, lashing out and attacking people. Ethel does not care about abuse victims. They don't care about any of the issues they claim to care about. Ethel is an unhinged, selfish grifter looking for money and control. Britt." Lazy Bedhead replied, "So, what you're saying is, they don't even own the screenshots they've been accusing Skov of stealing?" Britt replied, "No, not at all. Those screenshots have been circulating for years on places like Tumblr and the Kiwi Farms. People have been keeping an eye on Lily for a long time because she has a habit of mass deleting incriminating things she posts." Britt went on to answer 2 questions on her Tumblr blog that asked her about the situation, where she essentially reiterated that she and the other victims had assisted Ethel with collecting and compiling screenshots from social media with the expectation that their platform would help them feel seen and to stop Lily from seeking out future victims. Those that Lily has harmed have shown gratitude toward VangelinaSkov for covering the child abuse allegations against her as well, and since the former has a bigger following than EssenceOfThought's, their optimism that she'd be held accountable grew. It doesn't take away that Ethel and their admin put a lot of work into their far more successful and profitable video series. They were angry that more people were tuning into VangelinaSkov's video, but their readiness to smear her shows that they have little understanding of how YouTube's algorithm functions. Lily Orchard's history of abuse and her disturbing fanfiction are hot topics, so when a new video about them is uploaded, it'll likely garner more views, and the older videos tend to be overlooked for a while. Lily's victims have turned on Ethel because calling out VangelinaSkov for plagiarizing them when she didn't do anything to support these accusations have caused them to view EssenceOfThought as an embezzler. Courtney Pete, Lily's sister and her first victim, is peeved at Ethel for instigating this controversy and said that because of the alleged extortion, they made it harder for her to advocate for her fellow survivors. I couldn't find the original entry on her blog where she posted her exchange with Ethel. However, I have come across a blog entry posted by a former subscriber of EssenceOfThought's named SamaSmith23 where he was upset with them for similar reasons. In his entry, he stated that some of Lily's victims took issue with the misrepresentation of their testimonies in the video series, and that EssenceOfThought's misuse of the term grooming to summarize Lily's abusive behavior had caused them additional harm since it has made their experiences appear less believable. It has caused one victim, Patchwork Heart, to lose their faith in ethical journalism on YouTube.
I know firsthand what grooming looks like, and what is described in that video is not grooming. And the fact that Ethel and Levi chose to associate Glade's testimony with grooming when it more ethically fits the description of indoctrination and toxic social spaces, misconduct, and general misbehavior baffles me, because by associating Glade's testimony with the word grooming, you are discrediting Glade. That is a disadvantage that Glade now has in trying to talk about what they've been through. When Glade testifies to other people about what they've endured, they will be ignored because you associated what they were exposed to the word grooming.
That's not acceptable. Ethel and their fellow admin responded by continuing to be disrespectful to the victims by going against their wishes and kept using the term in the incorrect way in spite of being told that Lily's interactions with her audience, while inappropriate, was not grooming. They proceeded to defend their lack of integrity by equating that criticism of their handling of the victims' testimonies to defending Harvey Weinstein. This is what puts me off from giving Ethel credence of their obsessive behavior toward Rachel Oates, and currently VangelinaSkov is justified. They brought up Matthew Shepard's murder in a related dispute, and as someone whose heart broke when I looked it up, coupled with becoming more concerned for LGBT youth in the US now more than ever, because nothing's changed since he died in 1998, Ethel's inappropriate mention of it in that context left me repulsed. Now, later on in the previous month, they left a comment in one of their recent videos stating that they are threatening to release their private conversations with the victims if they don't shut up about how they made them do all the work during the making of their video series. The comment in of itself is confrontational. EssenceOfThought is aware that Lily's victims aren't happy with the direction they've taken with their video series, but the way they are defending their decision to fabricate their testimonies and are driven to ruin their lives now that they've spoken out is nasty and heavily bone-chilling. That tells me that Courtney was not kidding when she said Ethel was in it for the publicity. While the storm continues to brew, she set up a channel and uploaded her first video where she went into detail about how she was SA'd in her childhood by a half-sibling and when Lily first started to take advantage of her by getting her to quote-unquote play games with her. Later, she would allegedly sneak into Courtney's room when she was asleep to continue quote-unquote playing these games. Yuck! Since her parents had neglected to intervene, she was forced to learn to fend for herself. She had to put a lock that she bought herself on her bedroom door against her father's wishes. It should have gotten him to realize something was going on and that he should have taken Courtney more seriously, but ignoring the warning from Lily's psychiatrist was enough for her to know she can't rely on him for protection, the same way she cannot rely on Ethel to be sincere in their coverage. I'll leave a link to that video down below if you are in the right headspace to listen to Courtney's story. It's abysmal that Lily had gotten away with violating her the way she did. The testimonies from Courtney, Britt, and Sama Smith 23 are huge because they have made the VangelinaSkov side of the story airtight, and the realization that Ethel didn't get these screenshots on her own yet threatened a content creator with the claim that their story wasn't shared anywhere else could get Essence of Thought in a lot of trouble. Hello, this is present-day Wesley here to interject with new developments on Courtney's stance against Essence of Thought. At that part, I was almost done recording the voiceovers for this video when I noticed she uploaded a second video onto her new channel titled Don't Poke the Bear, Ethel, an expression that applies perfectly to the situation. Here she retells the claim that Ethel did a crappy job covering Lily Orchard on their channel and that they had her victims pick and choose years of documentation they posted on their Tumblr blogs during the making of the series. According to her, Ethel hasn't done any actual research, and her claims that they own the screenshots taken at these blogs caused the victims to feel like they've been had. Meanwhile, Courtney tried everything she could to get in touch with them, but her attempts ended up being all for nothing. She requested them to get her in touch with a child that Lily had sexted to gather evidence to turn over to the Canadian authorities. Ethel never responded, and the only reason they finally did was because Courtney had previously called them out for refusing to give the minor victim the justice they deserve. Rather than apologize for any confusion that may have occurred, as they should, Ethel tried to salvage their reputation by putting pressure on her to renounce the accusation. Courtney, not at all intimidated by any potential threats of litigation from them and lightheartedly daring them to go after her in her video, point-blank refused. So far, Essence of Thought has not responded to Courtney's call-out video, and hopefully they don't without issuing a serious apology to their audience because their actions have not been received favorably on Reddit and Twitter. If they try to smear her too as part of their harassment campaign, fewer viewers will be supportive of that choice, and Courtney has the resources to call their bluff because she has the links to the social media pages Ethel used posted below her video, and the other victims are going to tell the public the same thing she said, hence her usage of the expression, "don't poke the bear." Now let's get back to the original programming. The whole thing is pretty much how Illuminati lost face seemingly overnight. Both creators accuse someone else who's more popular of plagiarizing them, only for the public to discover that they were deceptive about the use of their sources. But, according to Ethel, let's forget about all that, say VangelinaSkov is just another Illuminati, and call it a day. There, problem solved. No. Never did I witness YouTube history repeat itself in a short time span. It's like this user that posted this warning in the YouTube drama subreddit is secretly the Oracle of Delphi. My biggest concern about this controversy is that it has upstaged Lily Orchard's own actions and could likely scare other YouTubers away from covering the child abuse allegations against her. This is good news for her because what Ethel has done with her platform was cut Lily's victims off from spaces where they should feel brave enough to come forward. It's terrifying as it is that content creators that delved into researching Lily's actions have chosen this topic with the anticipation that she and her fanbase may go after them, but now they have to be on high alert in case Ethel starts to demand compensation from them too. So far, they've only done that to VangelinaSkov due to her friendship with Rachel Oates, as you can see from the screenshot on your right, but the odds that another creator might be targeted are dicey based on how Essence of Thought feels it's entitled to the victims' testimonies that they don't even own. Ethel's offhand reply to Courtney when she confronted them over that behavior, "My videos are out there, still protecting people. They haven't gone away," indicates that they're hardly concerned about the damage they've caused not just to VangelinaSkov's well-being, but to a community of survivors that are now under the impression that a popular video series created to raise awareness of a child predator thriving on social media was motivated by greed, a suspicion that has been emphasized by Ethel's admission to contemplating posting their private conversations with them not long after Britt and Courtney outright posted that they felt betrayed by their actions. You guys can let me know what you make of this ordeal in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be donating $20 to the Trevor Project after this video is out in the hope of using the situation to help save LGBT+ youth from bullying and abuse in their own lives. I'll see you next time. Godspeed.